Hello everybody and welcome to Revisiting Disney. This is the series in which I play Imagineer for a day, I pick an attraction, or you guys pick an attraction, and I kind of pretend that I have to refurbish it or replace it completely, and I just kind of talk about what I think would be an interesting thing to put in that ride's place. And today we're here in Future World again. The reason I'm back at Future World is because Future World was actually the reason why the whole series began. I was really sort of let down, I'd say, with Future World and the direction it's going in, and I feel like it's a big departure from what it was founded on. And so I had originally wanted to make a series going through each of the Future World attractions, talking about what I think Disney could do to improve it and get it more in line with sort of the original ideals that it built upon. And we are here at the last Future World attraction, and that is Test Track. So I figure we'll fly around Test Track a little bit, check it out, and talk about what I think they can do to improve it. So, if you've never been on Test Track before, it's one of Epcot's sort of thrill rides. We're going to go on the track here for a second. It used to be the World of Motion, which was a slow-moving ride that was, I like to describe it as sort of like Spaceship Earth, but for vehicles, in that it sort of told the history of transportation and toyed with, you know, the possible futures of transportation. And it was then replaced with Test Track, which is a little bit more of a thrill ride and was focused on, you know, the process of testing a car before it was put on the assembly line for people to buy. And then most recently, it was given a refurbishment and where it's a little bit more futuristic. It kind of has a Tron look to it. And it's got this cool, like, feature where you're kind of designing the car a little bit digitally. Now, for full transparency, I have not ridden the latest version, the Tron track, so to speak. But I have ridden Test Track, I have ridden World of Motion, I've seen a lot of Test Track, I've watched ride-throughs, and I think it's a big step forward from where Test Track was. Test Track really didn't impress me. Sure, it goes fast and does some turns at times, but really there was nothing exciting about it from a futurist standpoint. You know, testing cars is something we do today. That's nothing new. And to be realistic, none of us are probably ever going to end up car testers. Maybe a few of you out there will, but for the most part, most people go to Disney. That's not what's going to happen to them. And so, really, what is there to get excited for with Test Track? Now, with this new one, there's a little bit more in the way of digital design, and that's kind of cool because we are definitely using that sort of tech more and more to design not only vehicles, but everything else. But at the end of the day, too, we're not really going to be engineers fully, so it is also kind of a look at what we're not going to, for the most part, see in our everyday lives. Now, you look at other attractions, and they kind of try to have this core connection with the rider that, at least in early Epcot, was, hey, look, this is what your life can be like. Not some other people, but this is what the everyday person might experience. Think to Horizons, or just the way that we look at energy with the world of Ellen's Energy Adventure, or, you know, the questions posed in Spaceship Earth. So what I would pose for this attraction is that we bring it to a topic that I think is far more relevant to us as consumers and drivers and people who use cars on a daily basis, and that's automation, right? Automation's a big deal. Google's working on it. The idea of a self-driving car. Everyone's hopping on here to ride. It's going to be something that we see within our lifetimes. There's like no doubt about that. And it's something I think would really excite people because even though it is something we'll see in our lifetime, it's not something we currently have. So it sort of fills that need where it's going to get us excited for something we will eventually have, but it's new enough that it's going to be novel to us. Now, here's the thing. When I think back to my favorite incarnation of this ride, which was World of Motion, I think about how funny it was. You know, yeah, it was a lot like Spaceship Earth, but it was a funny Spaceship Earth. And I think a large part of that was due to the involvement of Ward Kimball, who's like a legendary, he worked on animations, very funny guy, sort of added that humorous flair to it. And I think bringing humor back to Test Track would be a great idea. So we've got this idea, you've got self-driving cars as sort of a focal point. You've got, let's see if we can hop on here. Let's see if we can get on. Why can't I get on? Well, they're on now. We're going to go check out the outside. So you've got self-driving cars as a focal point. You've got humor added into it. Here's what my take on Test Track would be is let's introduce a vehicle that is a self-driving car with, and this is a bit of a sci-fi stretch, a computer AI, like a voiced computer AI by none other than Stephen Fry, who I think has a fantastic voice, who I think is very funny, and I think would add such great lighthearted humor to this attraction. And then make the attraction about sort of like this, I don't know, self-driving car that's on the fritz, or maybe the self-driving car gets you out of trouble because you're a bad driver or something. And you can still have these scenarios where the car, it's more or less a thrill ride where you're taking all these twists and turns the way you would in Test Track, but rather than framing it in that you're in a testing facility, digital or otherwise, you're out in the real world, and maybe like you're an awful driver and you're about to hit something, and then Stephen Fry takes over and saves your car last second and just makes a, smart aleck reply about your driving abilities. I think that sort of thing would be really fun because it would show the benefits that automated driving or self-driving cars could provide to us as a society. I think it would get people excited for technology that very much is on the horizon, and I think it would become more relevant to the core tenets of Future World, which is to explore the future that we could see in our lifetimes that'll affect us all, and in a way that's educational and humorous at the same time. I mean, this is one of the few where I kind of really hope this happens. I think this would be great. It obviously probably isn't, but I could dream, right? Bob Iger, maybe one day he just does a little Googling and he finds these videos. I think it would be hilarious. I think you get some really funny writers involved. I think humor is the best way to teach. That's in my opinion the best way to learn something without realizing you're learning is to throw humor in there. And I think between the writers that I think Disney could definitely get on board and great talents like Stephen Fry, I think you could throw a ride together. So that's my idea for Test Track and where I think it should go. I want to hear from you guys, though. Do you think that's a great idea? Maybe you think it's a horrible idea. It's very possible that you hate that idea. Maybe you have a better idea. Let me know in the comments below, or you can let me know on Twitter. I'm at RobPlays. Thank you all for watching. Whatever you're doing this week, make the most of it because it makes it that much better. And I hope to see you next time for the next episode of Revisiting Disney. One last point, I know I've been challenged to revisit Cinderella's castle, and I haven't missed that. I saw that challenge. I'm just still working on it. That's a tough nut to crack. Anyway, bye everybody.